Hey, it's Guachichil. What you're seeing right now, I wanted to introduce it to you guys, is a Guachichil design. This comes from San Luis Potosí. It was an artistic design taken from a deer head that some Guachichilas sent me. I'm part of a Guachichil community, and it not only includes Guachichils from here in the United States, but it also is connected to the Guachichils in San Luis Potosí. We have a leader. His name is Asholoa. I have a leader name. His name is Isaac, and I'm one of the officers there. Basically, just one of the members that help out with designs and things like that. To help out my tribe, and we're organizing ourselves, and we want to restore the Guachichil Nation. Asholoa is working to bring it back for government recognition there in Mexico. And one thing he told me that was very important is that the main principle, I guess, the main part of being Indigenous is self identification as Indigenous. That's in Article 2 of the Mexican Constitution. But, anyways, that's a really good tidbit. And we are working together. Hopefully, here, I would say in a year, especially after all this virus stuff, we'd be able to go down there and meet up and have ceremonies and really preserve and practice the culture for the Guachichilas. But we're doing it now, I mean, with these designs, by talking together, sharing stories, all of that. And we have a really good community there on Facebook where we're constantly talking. We got virtual meetings and conferences. But anyways, this artwork is really beautiful. I'm getting this made into a shirt. It's going to look really badass. This right here is the road to father son, and father son illuminates the houses or the homes of my people in their homeland. Orange and red is the color of the Guachichil Desert, so has some symbolic meaning. All these, this beautiful artwork. But anyhow, I wanted to show you guys genealogy. Right, I've had some requests. I've had a lot of luck with genealogy. I'm not going to show further back because then it's going to show my current family members that are alive, and for their privacy, I'm not going to show that. However, I've gotten very far back with my genealogy. I've found 39 indigenous ancestors. It says Indio there on the baptism and marriage records. If anybody's done genealogy, you know just how hard it is to find even one. You have to go to about 1821, around there, and it'll tell you a racial classification. They did away with the caste system around that time, and that's when it went away. So to even get a racial classification, even find an Indio, you'd have to go back 200 years, and you'd have to hope that whatever racial classification you find actually says that. Again, I found 39, which I can't understate. It's an enormous amount. A lot of people can't even find one. But I want to share some knowledge, how I've gotten good at genealogy, show you guys what I've been doing, and in doing so, maybe shed some light, and maybe you guys can be the next person that gets 39. Maybe you can surpass me and get 50 or something. Anyways, I, have a subscription for AncestryDNA. Excellent service. It's definitely worth the $40 a month. Highly recommended. I have my tree on AncestryDNA. And I have the settings set to where only I can make changes. You want to do that because you don't want people to go to your tree and fuck with it. If they do that, it can mess up a lot of hard work, and it's going to be a huge headache. But one thing that I wanted to show that's interesting here is that you can luck out and get a racial classification before 1821. I'll show you how. So this right here is a grandfather. I'm loading him up. Sometimes this takes a minute because I've gotten so many ancestors in this tree. It's actually, it does lag up considerably more. It's kind of silly. So here's the dealio. It's my third great grandfather. He's Native American. How in the world did I get that? He was born in 1870. So how? Well, he had a child named Maria del Refugio Arizmendiz. He had two children. One of them is my grandmother. But she lived a very long life, and one of them is another grandmother. She had the same name. However, she died. that same year. Only lived a couple months. So, of course, that's really sad. But it's discovering this record where I found out that they were indigenous, and they were put down as indigenous early on, which is pretty amazing to find. So here we go, where you have Maria del Refugio Arismendi, and this is where she was born, a second great aunt. So it talks about her dad, Cipriano Arismendi Casado, labrador de 42 años de edad, de raza indígena mexicana católico, right? So right there saying that he was of an indigenous race and he was Catholic, he was a laborer. If you go back down to where it shows Zenobia Alcala, which is my third great grandmother, it says that she was 35 years of age, of the same race and the same religion, so she was also indigenous. So you can look out and you can find stuff, records will tell you a race like this, but this seems to be the exception rather than the rule. So, but I did want to make note of that. Maybe you guys, that could come in handy. You can keep your eyes peeled as you work your way back if you haven't really gotten back that far. So here we go. How do I find a lot of answers? How do I go back really far? Well, fair questions. I'm going to give you an example of how I search here on AncestryDNA. Okay, I'm going to open up his profile. I just right-clicked and open up his profile for this ancestor. I've already worked my way back. I found 2 labels, mulatto, mestizo, probably both, to be honest. Probably a mixture of Black and Native American, right? Sometimes the priest can mischaracterize. They kind of went off of their hunches. Like they would see the person, they would make a determination. Sometimes it took into account like their background, but a lot of times it was just based off the looks from what I've learned in the Mexican genealogy page. But we are talking about 200 years ago. So how do I find all of these people, right? Great question. What I would do if I were you, if you already have, let's say, 2 ancestors set out, right? Your grandparents or your great-grandparents, you're trying to work your way back, all right? One easy way to work your way back is through the siblings, okay? So the siblings in their baptismal records can say maternal and paternal grandparents. Now, this is a gold mine because if it says this, it's just less work on you. You don't have to find the marriage record for your grandparents and then try to find their parents out in the marriage record. You can skip a step, It's really, really useful. But anyways, if you just want to find records in general for your ancestor, sometimes hints will pop up and you can check that out. And sometimes they are for the person. Now, right here, I'm going to make a really good point here, is the names aren't all going to be spelled the same way you have your ancestor because somebody else is indexing these records. It's very subjective. However, this is like a minute difference from what I have here. The only difference is they have De Reina and they spell Reina differently. And this is one of the kids. So right here is a great example of a hint that pops up. A lot of times when you just fill in the blanks on your tree with your ancestors, hints are going to pop off. And the great thing about hints is that if you add one, more can pop up. The algorithm will catch it. So what does this look like? We're going to click review. Okay. So it takes you to the record right here. Well, this isn't telling you much information. That's kind of frustrating, right? It's just telling me the child's name, the spouse, and of course, the subject and Anselmo Perales. So when the fuck did this happen? Well, it's really easy. You just click on the person that the record is really meant for. The person in question is going to be the child. So you click on him, and then that's when a lot of that information pops up. So now you get Jose Nicolas Perales Reina. You get the baptismal day, you get the location, you get the father and the mother. Excellent. So I'm going to call attention to a couple of things, a couple of really important things here. You're going to have suggested records here on Family Search. And, if you were really trying to look for more on this specific person, then you could go to the suggested records. And I recommend that you just right-click, open it up. You take a glance at what it is. This is his marriage record, I believe. Yeah, it's his marriage record for later on. So use that, and you can just keep working your way back. Now, here is where it's key. Sometimes names will differ. Ancestors didn't use the exact same name for every single instance. Sometimes they would drop a middle name, sometimes they would add a middle name. However, I will say this. If everything matches, let's say maybe they added a middle name. His name's like Nicholas Obispo Perales, right? Well, the last record, obviously you don't have Obispo, so it's just like, oh, fuck. Is it the right guy? Well, a good indication would be, do the times line up? Does it make sense, right? His birthday kind of makes sense with the baptismal date. Sometimes it's a little off, but if it's not off by much, then that's a great indication. What about the marriage place? What church are they at? Is it the same church? Is it the same place? Same state? If all that kind of lines up and the parents are the same, that's going to be your answer. So you run with it. You're not going to have 100% perfection with Mexican genealogy records. They were just not very, very precise, especially when it comes to ages. You're going to see a jump in ages, discrepancies in ages, and that's perfectly fine because they didn't really keep up with all that too much back then. You've got to think like they were more focused on survival. They were poor. Some of the people just weren't, literate or as educated. So, age is not really something they're really going to care about, quite frankly. So that's one thing I wanted to throw out there. Okay, so definitely milk your suggested records. Then more pops off. You can keep exploring these, keep right clicking. You can click on the father right here, right? And then look at his suggested records, right? Oh, shoot, where does this lead to? And this leads you through another rabbit hole. And you can just see more and more and more. And click on the if you wanted to find out about the spouse or any of that. So suggested records are perfect. They're really, really good. Now, you probably ask me here, all right, well, that's all fine and dandy. We got this record. However, I can't see shit, right? What do I do? Well, in this case, it has a film number. So what you can do is just copy the shit, right? Just copy it. And you take it to Family Search. I'm already a step ahead. I apologize. I'm going to go back. This is what Family Search looks like from the home screen. And we're going to get more into Family Search. However, I wanted to show you what to do from Ancestry in terms of the film numbers. Okay. So Family Search is completely free. You can make a free account. So what do you do with the film number? You're here on Family Search, my bad. You go to search, you go down to catalog. All right, you go to film number right here. You can just paste that in there, hit search. It's going to bring up the church and like the registry. You click on the registry, right? Okay, so it brings up a whole list of microfilms. Rather than waste your time looking in one by one, just Control F, Control V, you paste it, and then you find it. And then there's this Bautizos. You click on the camera, and you'll just have to do your due diligence. You're going to have to read through the records. I just click at random, and I'm just like, okay, well, what year does this say? And if it's not close to the year that it's asking for, then I just jump ahead or I just jump back, So I don't want to waste too much time because I have a lot of information to tell you guys. But that's how you find the record, right? You'll just have to read through and scroll page by page, but at least you have the date that the event took place. And generally speaking, the way it's indexed is very, very accurate, so you can trust it most of the time. If you find that shit's just not making sense, that's normal because sometimes these records aren't completely in order. And I'll say the reason why is because they got like random batches of records sometimes. It's really weird. So like if you're finding that it's not making sense, like you get to the date and then like let's say they had one in June, right? And then you go over there and you find one records for August and then you find records for April, but it just skips those fucking 3 months. And it's like, well, what the hell? Well, look at the, click on this outside view, go back in here and take a glance, maybe there's another subsection because they'll always have this front introductory tile that covers the same span of years, and it's just further on. You can scroll down and see that. If that's the case, give it a try there, and it's going to be there. That's sometimes that's thrown me through a loop. It was really frustrating when I was a noob. I'm like, well, what the hell? It's saying that's the date, and yet the date's not in here, and I would get really triggered. But it took me a minute, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I understand now. This isn't all just one massive book. Sometimes these are just multiple books in one record. As you can see, this is another one right here, and it covers a second range of dates. So that's what you do with the film numbers. Some of the images here on AncestryDNA, you don't have to do any of that because the image is already on AncestryDNA itself. Like, for example, this one right here, where it's for Maria Dolores Perales, you can just click on View Image, and there you go. You don't have to scroll page by page or anything. You can just go. One thing I will say is sometimes the records will be indexed for one page and the shit will be like really cut off. Like maybe it'll start for a paragraph and you might not realize that's for your ancestors because you'll look at all the other ones and they have nothing to do with your ancestor. And you find this like little paragraph that doesn't say any names down here. That's because it's the start of a new entry. You just click the next page. The index part's going to go away, but you know that the record's right here on the left side of the page. It's just a continuation of the page from before. It's like a book. So just throwing that advice out there for you guys as well. So we've gone into that. One other thing, let's say no hints pop off, so you can't do anything, right? Well, what can you do? There's two search functions you can explore. One is the automated prompted search functions, like possible birth records. This is pretty good. You right click on that. Always keep your profile page up for organizational reasons. You don't get too lost. And you can start, scrolling down here, right? What makes sense? And in my article, I state to just don't fuck with any of the search functions and to just scroll down. I recommend doing that because sometimes when you change the search functions, you can miss something that's obvious. And sometimes ancestors do move. So if you see some really strong resemblances and it's from another state that's nearby, you'll miss that if you try to narrow your search down to one particular state. Sometimes narrowing your search down to one particular state has its uses, and you can certainly do that, right? But I recommend at first to just scroll down, hover your mouse over the title, and just be like, okay, does this make sense? Do I know the parents' names already? What about the church? Does it all line up? And that's how you can get farther and farther back. However, if you wanted to refine the search to a specific state, you can click on North America. This is if you're a Mexican, If you're a Mexican, you're lucky. There's a lot of records indexed. Other parts of the world, I am not so sure. But, you click on Mexico, right? And then you're free to click on a state. So, I could click on Coahuila here and then I'll just see nothing but Coahuila records, right? So very, very excellent. So you can just keep hovering your mouse over different things here. And that's another child that he has two children. I haven't added all his children just yet. So there is that. I don't think I've been able to find a marriage record of him with his wife, although I haven't looked super, super closely. But anyways, that's one way you can do the searches is the prompted searches. The other one is just the general search on Ancestry. Same principles apply. You can narrow it. I don't recommend you do it immediately. Just hover your mouse over things. Just see where it takes you, right? This is obviously somebody I haven't added in, right? Same with here. So just look through these and there you go. So you can add people in, right? If I want to find out details again, I just click on the subject. Okay, well, this is her marriage engagement of 1819. Okay, very good. Again, the suggested records that you can take a glance through, right? So, yeah, a couple of tricks I have. If you find a sibling, let's say you can't locate their marriage record. Okay, all right, that sucks, right? So you can't locate their marriage record. And then you find your ancestors, like your direct ancestor, like the whatever son or daughter that you're related through of these two people, and you find their baptism. However, their baptism doesn't say squat, like it just says the parents' names, right? Well, if you find a sibling baptismal record, it could list the maternal or paternal grandparents. So that would be really promising. And that way you could skip ahead and find out who their parents are, right? Without having to locate a marriage record. So that's one trick. Another trick, if I wanted to really find his parents, and again, this doesn't always work because sometimes records aren't indexed. There is skill to this, but there is also a lot of luck to this. So one other thing would just be death records. If you looked up at his death records, it's going to say the parents' names a lot of the time. Some records don't. But that is a good strategy too. Well, you might ask, well, if you don't know the parents' names, then how the hell do you know it's for real that person's death record? Well, if it lists a spouse, and a lot of death records do, then that's going to be the parents. Again, you're looking for consistency. The place. The church, the spouse. What if the record has one of the children that he has as witnesses, right? So you're just looking for consistency. Consistency and attention to detail will get you very, very far in genealogy. So that is what I have to recommend. And using these strategies on AncestryDNA is how I've gotten so far with all of my things, right? So, and I found a lot of Indios, by the way, here on this Apata line. He right here was one from the Valley of Dolores. This was more like PAMI territory, but I haven't been able to really get farther back with him. In time, hopefully when records get indexed, that can change. So yeah. And so now we're going to go to these ancestors, Leonardo, Salinas, Maria Josefa. And I want to teach you guys something about family search because family search is also an excellent tool. Some things might pop up on family search that just don't pop up on AncestryDNA because of the algorithm, because of the way the search engine just goes, So I would definitely run your ancestors, if practical, through family search, and just to cover your bases. Also, there's other things that are not indexed from family search that are here indexed on AncestryDNA. AncestryDNA and family search work together. But again, there are some things in Ancestry that family search does not have indexed. And I think that alone makes a membership on AncestryDNA very much worth it. And this type of software is very user-friendly. So I hate it when it does this crap. I opened up a new window on a separate, I just opened up a new window. So when you get a family search, you got to search, go to records, and this is where you can run your ancestors, right? So for this one, I'm just going to type in Leonardo Salinas, right? I'm going to start basic. I'm going to add him in. I'm going to add the spouse in because I already know the spouse. It's Maria Josefa, right? Maria Josefa. And one thing I'm going to say is if your ancestor has like 4 different names, like Leonardo Obispo Salinas Zapata, right? Let's just say that. I wouldn't plug all 4 names in because, again, somebody else is indexing these records. They might have not have put all 4 names. And your ancestors, again, do not use all of their names on every single record. So I would pinpoint the 2 most pertinent names that they seem to use all the time and run it with that first, before you add anything else. You can, I recommend at first you can just run it through Mexico and see what happens. If you definitely know the state and you're really confident they never moved before that, then you can just put the state like San Luis Potosi. But my suggestion is run the searches bare bones at first, and then if you're not getting anywhere, add strands of information. Just go back to this window, add strands of information, and refine that search over time, right? But you want to start broad because, again, sometimes some of the way these search engines go, it can make you miss very obvious stuff, and it's really frustrating when that happens. So again, I've already found this guy before, right? This is actually the best proof I have for being indigenous. For my tribal claim for the Guachichil, this is my farthest record in Mixquitic de Carmona with Rafaela de los Angeles Salinas, right? But this is what family search looks like. So a couple things to pay attention to, right? Things that'll get you very, very far right here. Attention to detail, and time. Okay, so first of all, before we delve into anything, look up here. This says that it's attached to something, right? This is indicative that it's attached to a tree. We're going to open this in another tab. Okay, you open it in another tab. Okay, pulls up a profile page for Leonardo Salinas. Right here, it's going to say sources. Well, what records is he attributed to? Well, this record, right? You can take a glance at that. Right here, it would show if he had parents, right, on this tree, additional siblings, if he had more children, right? This pulls from trees that are on family search. One word of caution: if you find somebody that has done a tree and you guys have ancestors in common, do not add everything they have on their tree to yours immediately. Verify that they got there through sound genealogy. It's very easy to do that. Like if they had Leonardo Salinas' parents, I'd be like, okay, well, how the hell does he know Leonardo Salinas' parents, right? Did he find a marriage record stating that? Did he find a baptismal record for Leonardo stating his parents' names? You just got to verify how they got there. You can't just take it at their word. You want to be thorough and be able to articulate your research. Okay, I got here this way. It doesn't have to be like all the information in the world, but it has to be something, right, to show you. And again, if you clicked on that button I clicked, which was view tree, it takes you to a pedigree view, a landscape view. This is my favorite type of view. And you can really see far out if they got quite a bit of stuff. So first thing to pay attention to was that. Second thing is historical record. See right here, I'll right click on Leonardo Salinas. The only thing that differs is the first letter of the last name. You go here. Oh, okay. This is another child for Leonardo Salinas, right? Armadillo de los Infantes. He was married not Armadillo de los Infantes. The time period kind of makes sense here. It's a few years, 10 years. That makes sense. You're going to have children that marry at different times, right? The church is the same, right? So this all runs together. This is consistent. This is consistent genealogy. You can run with it. It makes sense. And again, the same people, right? The same parents. So that's too many coincidences for it to just be entirely chance. Could it be chance? Sure, but it'd be really unlikely for it to just be chance. So that's how you find more stuff through these similar records. And then if you want to be more thorough, click on Maria Josefa. Maybe she has more related records than Leonardo. Maybe she has 2 or 3. You click on the daughter. If you want to find more about the daughter, oh, she has 3 baptisms that she has there underneath her, right? And you can take a glance at those and see where it takes you, right? And then the next step obviously would be browsing the film to find the record. Well, right here it says the date that it happened. So you would right click on browse film. You're going to want to keep this open as a reference, right? So you don't get lost. And again, we've already gone over this. You just go through here. You'll have to manually search for the stuff, take a glance at the record of the dates, what date is it telling me? And then I can make a guess if I got to skip 100 pages or go back or whatever. So click through every single person's name and just check their similar historical records. And you can check up here. Oh shit, she's part of a tree. What does that mean? Okay, well, does it reveal anything else here that's really important? Okay, not really. Let me click on Leonardo. What about their Leonardo? Is his parents listed on here? No, they're not. Okay, well, but you need to do that due diligence to find out, because if it is, then that saves you a lot of time and effort. So that's what's really important about family search. And this is what I recommend for that. It's a treasure trove of information for sure. And then when you get really, advanced and you got all your stuff, you can make your own little PDF detailing your proof to some of the ancestors. I'm fascinated when they're Native American proof, but if you guys are fascinated with Espanol conquistador lineage proof, by all means, make a conquistador lineage proof PDF. I found some conquistador ancestors as well. I found plenty of Indios and I found both. I'm not going to deny that. I've found both sides. And I organized mine in here. I would put the screenshot of the record zoomed up, highlight what's pertinent, right? Then I would just have like a actual picture of like the book it came from, the link, kind of a short little explanation of what the record says. And I just kind of run with that for my Native American lineage proof. But I went through so much, gained so many, that I haven't added them all in. I'm at 70 pages, but I still have to add like another 10 or 12, as you can see. So this will probably end up being like close to 200 pages by the time all is said and done. And I've found like many Native American ancestors. I've found a total of 39 using these strategies that I've highlighted. Again, some luck is needed, yes, because your records are indexed. One other thing though that you can do, and this is where it becomes hardcore genealogy, is if you know the age of an ancestor, the year they were born, the place they were born, and you just, for the life of you cannot find the index record. Well, in that case, you could do the following. Let's say I know that he was born in 1803, and he's always been gone to Armadillo de los Infantes. This is where it's going to call for a book search. So you just go to search, catalog again, you don't have a fill number, so you just type the place, or if you know the church's name. I know it's Armadillo de los Infantes. You hit search, and you just browse through here. This makes more sense because of the church records from this year to this year. And then I'm just like, okay, well, what did I know about him? I knew he was an Indio, and he was born like in 1803. So then you just found by bautizos for that range. I'm just clicking on any which one. I'm just trying to show you guys how this looks like, kind of walk you through. And then I would just have to flip page by page, maybe find the given year, right? And I'd just be like, okay, well, I didn't find him here. Fuck, okay. And then you'd go to the second page, and it takes a while, but that is another way to do it. It's not always a guarantee either, and you can spend a lot of time, waste a lot of time. But if you need to do it to make that connection, you got to do what you got to do to get further back. So, yes, and this video is a compliment to my native ancestor article, where I kind of just lay things out more of in a stasis style format, just by text, if that's what people prefer. But I just wanted to make this video for you guys. Hopefully it helps you. Hopefully you can get as many answers as I have. It's taken me about 6 months to get 39, but that's because I don't have kids and my girlfriend's deployed with the military. So, I just work a full-time job. I get home, and there's a lot of times or days or weeks where I just get home and I just spend a couple hours doing genealogy. Sounds boring, but to me it wasn't. It was really exciting. I was like, oh shit, I gotta find all the Indios I can find. It's like catch all the Dragon Balls. I gotta get far as fuck back. So, and by the way, there are some records that will show you a tribe, right? There are some that do that. They're very rare indeed. They're very, very rare to find because the Spaniards usually they didn't really give a hell about that. So, but you can. Most of the time they will say just Indio, right? Unfortunately, that's just the case. But some of them will actually give you a tribe. I haven't been able to look. So for this woman right here, Petra Hernandez, this drove me insane because I couldn't find this, right? I couldn't find a marriage record between them two. I looked page by page through a book, right? But they have a lot of children, and this is the father is suggested. There's a record that's heavily suggested that's her baptismal record, but I haven't been able to make that connection completely. I want to, but I haven't let my excitement get the better of me. One thing I'm going to tell you is I'm going to show you how it does list, like, if it doesn't list a tribe, it lists at least like, a sub category of tribes, because with her, this suggested record for her, which I've talked to other people, they say that it is her, of course, but I want to find proof before I claim this. It says right here, she's an India Chichimeca, freaking badass. Most likely it does apply to her. It's probably the Petra Hernandez that I have here. However, again, I have not been able to find a marriage record with Cristobal Sanchez de Mayo, but it is what it is. I'll have to see. But yeah, sometimes you will get lucky and it'll actually say the name of the tribe, if not, basically the next best things. Chichimeca was a term that encompassed about 4 to 7 tribes, I believe. I know that based off a sheer amount of evidence, I belong to the Guachichils. Again, of those 39 natives that I have, 37 come from Guachichil territory, and I've gotten quite far back. I've done the research on the towns, and those towns were known as Guachichil towns with significant Guachichil populations. You put all of that together, and it's kind of stupid to assume, oh no, I don't have any descendancy from that tribe. That'd be insane. And in addition to that, I also have probably another 120 ancestors I have that are for 1850 before that. I haven't been able to find a caste label because I haven't been able to find the baptism record. I kind of got stuck at a certain point, right? So, you when you got a sheer amount of evidence, you can make a tribal claim like that. One thing I'm going to make clear, very, very important here. If the tribe is extinct, by all means claim it, because you are reviving it by doing so. That is amazing. That is amazing work. Okay. And that's what I did. And it led me down the path now to where I am part of a Guachichil community. And I'm extremely happy to be part of that, to be learning the culture, right? To be living the culture, to be wearing Guachichil colors every day when I go to work now, to know that my ancestors were naturalistic worshipers. And, you know, that's funny because growing up, I also had a fascination for the wind, for the rain, for the stars, and my ancestors did too. So it's kind of funny how that works out. It's almost like it was meant to be. So if it's extinct, absolutely make the claim. But if the tribe is still in existence, here's where it's very important. Don't go claiming that tribe. You need to go try to see the tribe and see if you can gain membership for that tribe. That's really, really important. Try to see if you can get membership for that tribe. If they don't accept you, it sucks, but it is what it is. You can't force them to accept you, and it's disrespectful to claim them if they don't accept you. The only other thing I could say is just try to, you know, win them over eventually with time, or if you can't win them over, just support the tribe. I mean, you're a descendant from them. You can still say you're a descendant of the tribe. Just don't claim the tribe as your own if it still exists and they don't accept you. I would support them monetarily. I would just show them that I respect them, that I'm a friend, and that I'm proud of those roots. So that is what I have to say about that. I hope you guys really like this video. Hopefully it's going to help you guys out with your genealogy. So again, I'll see you the next time, guys. Thank you.